We still have flat earthers. We have people that don't believe in vaccinations. And what do we do about it?
I'm going to hang up this phone, and then I'm going to show these people what you don't want them to see.
It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. What truth?
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
In the age of social media censorship, questioning whether or not the Earth is a globe has been deemed harmful thought. But why is this? We seem to be conditioned to think that the issue has been scientifically settled. But this is not the case. Our most popular scientists recognize that the geocentric model, where the Earth is at the center of the universe, is observably accurate. Edwin Hubble and Stephen Hawking went as far as to say that they reject the geocentric model not based on scientific reasoning, but rather because they find the thought of being at the center of the universe to be emotionally disturbing. Physicist George Ellis stated that you cannot disprove the geocentric model, you can only exclude it on philosophical grounds. The Michelson-Morley experiment in the 1880s proved the Earth was stationary, and Albert Einstein claimed this was a serious embarrassment and intended to disprove it with his relativity theory, but later admitted that he had failed to do so. We are conditioned to think that the heliocentric model is scientifically superior to the geocentric model, but when we apply scientific reasoning, we discover that this is not true. Contrary to popular thought, the scientific community has disputed the heliocentric model for centuries, such as the Earth's curvature. According to the heliocentric Earth model, the Earth is 24,000 miles in circumference, and if one were standing at sea level, they should only be able to see less than 3 miles before the surface of the Earth curves out of view. But this has been proven to be false for centuries, from the Bedford Level experiments of 1838 to modern photography. This photograph of Chicago was taken almost 60 miles away from Grand Mere State Park in Michigan. On a spherical Earth, this would be impossible. Using the Pythagorean theorem and the current dimensions of the Earth, the top of the tallest skyscraper should be 900 feet below the observable horizon. Local news explained this anomaly by claiming the image was a mirage.
And what you're seeing here is a mirage. We typically would not be able to see this from the Lake Michigan shore. We talked about this last night. Conditions are right on the lake that we're actually seeing a mirage.
They claimed that somehow light refraction and perfect weather conditions are responsible for creating a photorealistic mirage of the Chicago skyline appearing to sit on the flat horizon from almost 60 miles away. Anomalies in the Earth's curvature can also be found in old lighthouses, able to be seen for several miles past what is possible on the heliocentric model, and weapons guidance systems that are capable of sighting targets that would only be possible on a flat plane. We are accustomed to observing ships disappearing over the curve, but with modern consumer cameras, we can observe that this seems to be an optical illusion based on light reflection and the laws of perspective. Many of us tend to think the planet is too big to observe curvature, but the empirical evidence tells us that either the surface of the Earth is a flat plane or the planet is at least 100 times bigger than we are told. Another very intriguing argument for flat earthers is Antarctica, the mysterious massive continent at our southern pole that nobody is allowed to explore. After sailing over 60,000 miles along the Antarctic coastline, Captain Cook was never able to complete the journey around the ice continent, which is supposed to be just under 12,000 miles around. Neither was James Clark Ross or the British ship Challenger. Nobody has ever successfully circumnavigated Antarctica. Many so-called flat earthers claim that these attempts failed because Antarctica is actually a massive ice barrier that surrounds the flat surface of the Earth. The azimuthal equidistant projection map, produced by the U.S. Geological Survey, has been used for centuries for the fact that all directions or azimuths are correct and all distances are at true scale. Studying this map, one can clearly see how man has been able to accurately circumnavigate the Earth on a flat plane model. And if it is in fact accurate, then it explains why after 60,000 miles, nobody has been able to completely circumnavigate Antarctica. Interestingly, this is also the map used by the United Nations. Admiral Richard Byrd, Medal of Honor winner, youngest admiral in the history of the Navy, and recipient of 3 ticker tape parades in his honor, led 4 expeditions to Antarctica. The fourth being a military operation known as Operation High Jump, with an aircraft carrier group, 4,700 men, 13 support ships, and 33 aircraft. Their stated mission was to establish the Antarctic research base Little America 4, but many believe the true nature of the secret mission was to root out the Nazis who arrived in 1939, claiming New Schwabia and setting up a Nazi presence in Antarctica. In 1954, Admiral Richard Byrd spoke on TV of an area bigger than the United States with valuable resources and announced a future of international exploration.
Our very distinguished guest for this evening is Admiral Richard E. Byrd.
Strangely enough, there is left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being. And that's beyond the pole on the other side of the South Pole from Middle America. We've found enough coal within 180 miles of the South Pole in a great ridge of mountains. It's not covered with snow, enough to supply the whole world for quite a while. And I think it's quite astonishing that there should be an area as big as that unexplored.
That's a tremendous
So
challenge.
there's a lot of adventure left down at the bottom of the world.
Admiral, do you hope to see that?
I do. So I'm willing to say to you that there will be a number of expeditions that will follow, I think, year after year, at the bottom of the world, because the government has really become interested.
But this never happened. In 1957, Admiral Byrd died in his sleep of a heart ailment at the age of 68. And on December 1st, 1959, all 12 countries active in Antarctica signed a United Nations treaty that outlawed all public travel south of the 60th southern parallel. This was the same time that NASA was formed. The world's attention was pulled away from exploring Antarctica and directed firmly on the moon. In 1962, a series of high-altitude nuclear tests was carried out by the United States. It was called Operation Fishbowl, which has caught the curiosity of many flat Earth researchers because the flat Earth model shared by the ancients was one where we lived within a sphere, upon a flat surface, and surrounded by a massive dome, like a fishbowl, or The Truman Show. In 2012, the secret lost diary of Admiral Richard E. Byrd was published, wherein Admiral Byrd allegedly claimed to enter a hollow Earth through a hole in the center of Antarctica and meet with an advanced alien civilization. The diary provides no evidence of being authentic, and many would suggest that it portrays the distinguished admiral as a crackpot and strange tales of Antarctica as fantasy. To this day, the public is strictly prohibited from traveling below the 60th southern parallel. Nobody has ever completely circumnavigated Antarctica, and airplanes are prohibited from flying over the icy continent. What are they hiding? There is now talk of investing trillions of dollars to explore Mars. Why not Antarctica? If sharing videos about flat Earth is harmful, why not put it all to rest by circumnavigating Antarctica, documenting everything, and prove that the Earth is a spinning globe? For Infowars.com, this is Greg Reese.
You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland.
If some of these folks were around when Columbus set sail,
Earth is flat and not round.
These guys were around when Columbus set sail. They must have been founding members of the Flat Earth Society. They'd be charter members of the Flat Earth Society.
And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Earth is flat and not round.
But it takes a strong, independent mind to recognize and then set aside one's indoctrination. Unlike the globe propagandists, we flat earthers don't want you to believe or trust us. We don't believe in the flat earth. Please understand that. We tested whether the globe exists and found, based on the extensive amount of evidence that we've gathered, that there is no curvature, that there is no outer space, and heliocentrism is false. But we want you to figure that out for yourself. On the other hand, NASA and its spaniels, liars, parrots, and actors will never tell you to go out and measure the curvature yourself. They are scam artists and deceivers. They want you to be gullible and ignorant as though it's a virtue. Please reject the illusions, lies, and hypnosis. Break your mental shackles. Come out of the allegorical cave and your stupid, fundamental, heliocentric religion and conduct these experiments and test the globe yourself. Come up with new experiments and ideas. Share what you have. It's fun and it's exciting. Flat Earth is breaking the chains that bind humanity. We absolutely promote intellectual freedom and investigation.
It is Photoshopped. It is Photoshopped, but it's has to be.
And we hope that a new breed of independently minded professionals, PhDs, and students will, in all humility, work together towards a true and objective grassroots scientific movement. I'm not embarrassed I'm a flat earther. I'm embarrassed it took me 40 years to see the truth that we live on a flat and stationary plane. Flat Earth comes with a big serving of humility. Based on experimentation, testing, and genuine reflection, we all came to realize that the Earth is flat and stationary, that outer space is fake, and that NASA lied. That is huge.
Peter, this sucks! What are we doing out here?
Small sections of large curved surfaces will always look flat.
Wow, look at this. The water was flat. The water was flat. The water was flat as a looking glass capturing the moonlight and stars.
Earth is flat and not round.
And I say yes.
Told you not to worry.
Imagine the hard time they've given Christopher Columbus.
But maybe that's a lie.
Voices on the right and left.
Honey, what's your hurry?
Are working right now to breathe life
Just stay inside.
into those old flat earth theories of protectionism.
You're never meant to get too close to stars. They're never gonna give you love. Where did you go? I should know, but it's cold and I don't wanna be lonely, so show me the way home. I can't lose another life.
This whole thing is the biggest fairy tale I've ever seen.
Okay, what we're thinking of as aliens are they're extra dimensional beings.
And I say yes.
I can't lose another life.
This is a map, for example, of an anthropologist named who was actually trying to describe what he saw as the racial dispersion of groups out of Asia around the world. Now you look, and it kind of looks like this is what we have.
The world's a little blurry. Or maybe it's my eye.
No way! Can you suggest that you have space, therefore the second law of thermodynamics doesn't apply? It's a begging the question fallacy. So often I will ask fundamentalist religious zealots, beyond your fundamentalist religious zealot belief that the sky is a vacuum, how can you have gas pressure without a container? Because the natural instinct of a fundamentalist globe-believing fundy, it's a bit redundant, is to beg the question of the sky vacuum and then tell us that obviously the second law of thermodynamics doesn't apply because the gas isn't filling my presupposition that the sky is a vacuum. Well, that's a begging the question fallacy, to assume that you've got a sky vacuum and therefore not require a justification for its violation of that particular law. That would be an entropy increase, or standard gas law. The volume that you would calculate it with would be the volume of space the gas has to fill. And if the sky was a vacuum, that would be an availability of volume for the gas we breathe to fill. And fill it must. That's what gas does. It expands in all directions. So the gas we're breathing, which is at pressure, would fill the sky vacuum. Now their response is often to say, well, we have a gas pressure gradient, which is merely a delta of the original question and assertion when you've got a sky vacuum belief. How can you have gas pressure in the first instance without a container? And they would say, well, a delta of gas pressure gradient is something we experience. It's like, well, how did you achieve the gas pressure in the first place without containment? And the answer is you can't. It stands directly in violation of several natural laws. Without the container, there can be no pressure. Therefore, if the sky was a vacuum, as asserted in the heliocentric rhetoric, then the gas we breathe would fill the space. Outer space, claimed to be a vacuum, is fake. Therefore, any claims from that claim to be sky vacuum are automatically fake, including but not limited to pictures of Earth from space. The region is fake, second law of thermodynamics violation. Therefore, the pictures claimed to have come from the fake region are also fake.
should know, but it's cold and I don't wanna be lonely. Was hoping you'd come home. I don't care if it's a lie.
And so that's why I think we will have flat earthers. We will have the people who don't like vaccination, because hearsay throughout human history was the dominant form of information sharing.